Good afternoon, folks. It's Tuesday, March 17th, 2015 at 6 p.m. We're gathered here at City Hall at 116th West Bridge Street, Granbury, Texas. I now call the City Council meeting, Councilmember, to order. One note that Councilmember Tony Allen will not be with us tonight. I'd like to call upon Pastor Paul Duncan with the Membrino Baptist Church to lead us in our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge, led by Councilperson Rosemeyer. All rise, please.
Thank you. Would you pray with me? Father, we are thankful that you are sovereign and good. Thank you that there is no authority at any level, at the city level or at the federal level, except from you. So God, we know that you're at work here, so we ask for your help. God, we know these men and women make hard and costly decisions. Often the right thing to do will cost them influence and popularity and maybe even re-election. God, we know that their families pay a price for them to be up here and do the things that they do. So God, help them tonight to quickly see what's foolish and what's wrong for our city. Give them the humility to listen and the fortitude to do what's right. God, give them integrity so that they always refuse a bribe. And above all, God, we pray that these men and women will know the forgiveness and freedom found only in the crucified and resurrected and returning King. And we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. I hope everybody's enjoying it. At this time, I'd like to read an official proclamation concerning Poison Prevention Week. Whereas our society has become increasingly dependent on household chemicals to perform labor-saving, time-saving miracles, and on medicine to provide health-giving, life-sustaining benefits, and whereas these products, when not used as intended or directed, may be hazardous, particularly in children gain access to them. And whereas over the past 53 years, the nation has been observing Poison Prevention Week to call attention to these hazards and how proper handling and disposal of these substances and proper use of safety packaging can help eliminate them. And whereas the efforts of our community organization, complemented by the efforts of the North Texas Poison Center, have reduced childhood poisoning in Granbury, Texas. And whereas the North Texas Poison Center, a regional poison center located at Parkland Health and Hospital System, provides the ultimate in human service programming, immediate, accessible emergency information to save lives for victims of poison-related emergencies. And whereas these programs must continue as long as even one child swallows a household product of medicine by mistake. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Nen Hewlett, the Mayor of the City of Granbury, do hereby proclaim the week of March 15th through the 21st, 2015, as Poison Prevention Week. And in Granbury, further, I direct the appropriate agencies in our local government to continue their cooperation with concerned citizens and community organizations, including our schools, to develop programs which will alert our people to the continued danger of misusing medicines and household products, and to promote effective safeguards against accidental poisoning among our young children. Thank you. At this time, we'll move into the consent agenda. Those two items being: consider approving the council meeting minutes of March the 2nd, 2015, special meeting March 3rd, 2015, and our regular meeting on March the 10th. And also consider approving the closure of one block of Bridge Street between Houston and Crockett from 8 a.m. Friday, April 24th, until 8 a.m. Monday, April the 27th. One block of South Houston Street between Pearl and Bluff. And the alleyway between businesses on the west side of the square from 8 a.m. Friday, April the 24th, until 9 p.m. Saturday, April the 25th, 2015, for the Granbury Wine Walk. Council, you've had an opportunity to look over the minutes and the said agenda, the said item here, the requesting. Are there any changes or concern on these consent agendas? If not, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Myers.
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Perkle. Is there any more discussion, council? If not, Councilman Parson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Couch?
Aye.
Councilman Perkle?
Aye.
Councilperson Myers?
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. Now we move into our deliberation agenda. The first one being a presentation of the comprehensive and annual physical report, or audit, for the city of Granbury for fiscal year 2013-14. And I will comment that our own Ava Gregory has done a fabulous job in putting this together as I read through it, and she's done a tremendous job on this. I'm going to call upon her to kind of brief the council on this presentation, so if you have any questions after that, we'll entertain those. Ava?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I would like to present to you the annual comprehensive financial statement that was prepared by the combined efforts of the Finance Department and our audit firm, George Morgan and Sneed. Two of the representatives of the audit firm are here with us today, Peter Morgan and Daniel Hungerford. They will be also available for any comments or questions you might have. The annual audit was completed by, as I said, by George Morgan Sneed for the year ending September 30th, 2014. The report is published basically to provide the City Council, any other interested parties, citizens, or bondholders information concerning the financial health of the city. The report is introduced to you in 3 sections: the introductory section, the financial section, and the statistical section. The introductory section includes the transmittal letter. The financial section includes the MD&A, the management discussion analysis, the government-wide and major fund presentations, the required supplementary information, and the independent audits report. The statistical section at the very end includes the financial and demographic information, and that is usually presented to you on a multi-year basis. On the first slide, we start out with one of the major sources for the general fund, and that is our ad valorem, or property tax revenue. As you can see, it represents the last 5 years, the valuation growth during the last 5 years. Fiscal year 2013-14 ended with 2%, with a 2% increase, which is about $18 million in valuation. It's at $1,105 million. The city had seen increase in the last 2 years in property taxes, and the increase is also represented in the commercial and residential development that is reflected in this value, and the number of building permits that were issued for new constructions. The second slide, or the third slide, represents the same ad valorem valuation growth that I showed you before, but this chart also includes the line that shows you the tax rate. The tax rate has been decreasing over the last years, and our tax rate actually went from almost 40 cents to 39.5 cents during tax year 2013, which is also fiscal year 2013 and 14. The following slide is our sales tax revenue. Sales tax is the largest single revenue for the general fund. As you can see, the chart shows the 5-year comparison, and we have seen increases during the last 4 years. We have reached the highest sales tax revenue collection in the history of the city of Granbury, and we ended the year at $6.6 million, which was a 2% increase compared to the previous year. The following chart is one of the revenues from the tourism fund, the hotel occupancy tax revenue. It also shows you the growth for the 5-year comparison. And the last 2 years, we had seen an increase in hotel occupancy revenue as well. The year ended with $557,000 in hotel tax revenue, which represents 3% increase compared to the previous year. The following chart represents the fund balances. The first chart shows you the fund balance for the utility fund and the general fund for the last 5 years. And the second chart shows you the fund balance as a percentage of the operating expense also for the last 5 years. The general fund is graphed in red and utility fund is graphed in yellow. Underneath the charts, you see two tables that captures the unassigned fund balance in dollar values, as well as the operating expense in dollar values, and the percentage of the fund balance as the operating expense. Over time, a strong net position is a good indicator of the financial position of the city. We have seen our unassigned fund balance for the general fund decrease from $4 million, which you see in the red table under 2013, to $2.9 million, which is represented under year 2014, the last column in the table under the graphs. That is a $1 million decrease, and that is due to the one-time expenditure transfer that was sent over to the tourism fund to assist with the Opera House renovation project. The general fund is still maintaining a fund balance of 25% of the operating expense, and as a citywide policy, the city is required to maintain reserves at a minimum of 90 days or 25% of the net budgeted operating expenditure. The unassigned fund balance for the utility fund is $5.2 million, and that is representing 32% of the operating net expense, which is well above the required 25% ratio. In the following chart, I would like to review the performance for the general fund in comparison to the previous year. So we are comparing 2013-14 fiscal year with fiscal year 2012 and 13. Total revenues for the general fund had increased 6%, while total operating expenses have increased 3%. The increase in property tax for both the maintenance and operation and the interest and sinking fund was a total of 2%, which is $100,000. Sales tax increased by 2%, which is about $160,000. Franchise taxes have increased 5%, and we have seen the increase throughout all the franchise revenues, which are gas, electric, cable revenues. And under other income, other revenues, the large increase is due to a one-time tree replacement fee paid by a large commercial developer. And also under other revenues, included is the increase in permit fees and auction proceeds and other miscellaneous income. Under expenditures, you see the general government expenditure summarized. We experienced a 6% growth, and that is due to two new positions that were added to the general fund, and also included in there some other miscellaneous expenses. That was a total expense of $200,000 or an increase of 6%. Under public safety, the public safety have decreased about $150,000 or 3%, and that is due mainly because of some capital expenditures that were expensed in fiscal year 2012 and 13, and they did not happen in 2013 and 14. These were radios that we have purchased for the police vehicles, and also we completed the fire training center in 2012-13. Under community development, there also you see a 33% decrease, which is about $200,000, and that is due to the elimination of the neighborhood service department that was absorbed by public works and utility billing. Highway and streets, the increase is 34%, and that's where public works falls into. Again, public works absorbed the cost, about $100,000 of the neighborhood services. We also had some other projects that happened in 2013 and 14, such as the Water's Edge drainage project and maintenance of road projects that were higher than the previous year. Under culture and recreation, the increase is 15%. That includes some property improvements that we accomplished during 2013 and 14. We purchased groundskeeping equipment. There was some skate park expense and maintenance expense as well. Under other financing sources, you see the increase in intergovernmental transfer. That $1.5 million represent the transfer from general fund to the tourism fund. So as you see, the net fund balance have decreased about 20%, which is $1 million. And as we mentioned before, now the unrestricted fund balance for the general fund is $2.9 million, which is still meeting the required fund balance policy requirement. The following slide reviews the performance for the utility fund. Under the utility fund, you see the decrease for electric sales about 1%. As you know, we have decreased the electric rate about 15% with the new utility rate structure. However, with the increased consumption, the decrease in sales is only 1%. Both water and sewer sales are up 11% and 17% respectively, and the other revenues are up 20%. Under other revenues, we included the penalty income, auction proceeds, and some other miscellaneous income as well. So the total revenues for the utility fund increased 5%.
Eva,
Yes?
would you say that the water and sewer sales increase is primarily due to rate structure versus usage?
It was both. We have seen higher consumption for water as well, and the new utility rate structure have also attributed to the increase of the water sales and sewer sales.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did the modification of some of the meters play into that equation too?
Yeah, we replaced about, I'm trying to remember, about 300 meters last year, and on the small meters, it's harder to capture the difference or the efficiency, accuracy for the meters.
Right.
But in the larger meters, we have seen an increase in consumption, yes. Or capturing the consumption, actually, not increasing consumption, capturing the correct consumption with a more accurate meter, yes.
Yeah, I think the fact that the lake's down with the lake-related properties using the city water also was an impact.
Yes, that's correct. On the expenditure side, you see the purchased electricity and water expenditure have gone up 3%. That is about $300,000 due to the increased consumption, as we just mentioned, for the electric sale, and also increased transmission costs. The personnel costs have gone increased by 9%, and that is due to additional 2 new positions that were added in the utility fund. And also, when I compared the 2 years, there was a position open in the previous years that wasn't filled. So that also contributes to the difference between the 2 fiscal years. Supply and maintenance is up 13%, and that is across all departments. We have seen an increased cost for maintenance, and also the shared allocation have gone up from the utility fund to the general fund. Going down under capital contribution, you see a large increase, which in percentages is about 2,700 percentage, which is about $700,000. And these are completed developer projects that are transferred to the city upon the completion of the water and sewer infrastructure for commercial and residential development. And this includes developments like Kroger and Abe's Landing and Aldi as well. Transfer out is a little bit lower due to the change in executive salary share paid out from the utility fund to the general fund. Under total other sources, you see that debt service and interest expense have gone down about 13%, and that is due to the refundings that we recently done, and also retiring some of our debt. There was no change in contribution to economic development. It's $86,000. And so the increase in that position for the utility fund is about $1 million. Increase of the unrestricted fund balance for the utility fund is $400,000. Again, this represents 32% of the fund balance compared to the operating expense. At this time, this concludes the CAFR presentation. If you have any questions for me or the auditors. I should add that the city have closed at a strong position again. As you see, we measure our net position by our unrestricted fund balances, and those are both strong for the utility fund and the general fund as well. Daniel Hengoford, our auditor, would like to add a few additional comments. Is that okay?
Go ahead and introduce yourself for the city secretary.